has been the impact on trade at least between East Asia and Europe?
So the first thing to look at is the total amount of cargo that moves along this route between Asia and Europe. Now, some of it is Chinese, obviously, some of it is Japanese, Korean, and of course European in the other direction. But the total cargo along that route grows from 9.6 billion tons to 11 billion tons in the last 6 years since the campaign was launched, the initiative. And then this includes container shipping in that tonnage, but we have separate data for container ships, and that's quite interesting because container shipping grows from 160 million. Now, TEUs is 20-foot equivalent units, so that's a 7-meter standard container, and a shipping container will be double that size, 40-foot equivalent unit. So this is how container capacity of a ship is measured. So basically, 160 million containers will go on that route, rising to 811 million containers. So that is 400% growth in 5 or 6 years. So that area has completely transformed. Now, containers are interesting. They account for probably about a quarter of the volume of traffic on the Maritime Silk Road, but about 3/4 of the value, because they're mostly semi-manufactured goods, components, and finished goods. So the value added is very high. So I want to look a little bit more on containers because it shows what's happening in the Maritime Silk Road. The average container ship, looking at the fleet of container ships 2013, was 3,000, 3,500 standard containers. And the largest ship at the time was 18,000, a single ship carrying 18,000 standard containers. If we move to the most recent numbers now, the largest ship now carries almost 24,000 containers in one ship. And the average size of container ship has risen accordingly. So the average size of container ships has risen by 25%, and the maximum size has risen even more. So there's been this large growth of shipping and size of ships, and that has huge implications for development. It means, for example, that at every time the ships are larger, which means the cranes to handle them have to be larger, which means that the docks have to be reinforced to take the leverage of the cranes. It means that there's more boxes being deposited on each visit. They have to be cleared from the dockside and have to be cleared from the port. And so the whole logistics of container shipping has changed. So only the very most modern ports can take these large ships, and they have to be able to handle them, because this isn't a lump of coal. Each of those containers is individual. It's ordered by one firm going to one destination. It's not like a ton of coal where the first ton is the same as the last ton. So you have to know exactly what you're doing. So the ports are becoming more mechanized, more automated, more computerized. But that's not all. Not only do you have to expand the port facilities and modernize them, but the ships that used to visit these larger ports now are passed downwards, down the scale, because once these large ships have arrived, then their produce is often redistributed also by sea, by ship. And so you get a cascade effect of these container ships going down until the small little ship that used to have its own crane attached has now more or less disappeared.
Yeah, so that's the concept of transshipment ports, like the Jebel Ali port in Dubai. It receives the large ships from Asia and Europe, and then it distributes it in smaller ships to the rest of the Gulf countries.
Yeah, like Singapore, which is a transit port par excellence, like Colombo, which is also a major transit port in the Indian Ocean, and like the ships in Hamburg, Rotterdam, and Piraeus, if you like, in Greece. They all have this same function.
Okay, that's fascinating development there.